What's good, y'all? What's good? I'm C. Will, and this is the Passive Income Network. And on today's video, we're going to be diving into some integrations, mostly focused on Chainlink and how that creates a situation where real-world assets could be the next thing to help take crypto to Valhalla, as some of y'all like to say. All right, so Chainlink brings RWA to Stellar Lumens and Hedera. What's next? So that's what we'll be talking about on today's video. And as y'all slowly start to join the stream, make sure y'all hit that like button. If you're on your mobile device, hit the hype button. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. In today's live stream, we about to be going in. Let's start off with some crypto price action. So first of all, crypto is looking better than it was in the last few days. Fear and Greed Index is at 21 on the scales. And I like that it's rising up rather than going into a deeper extreme fear situation. So we got Bitcoin sitting at $68,000, Ethereum sitting at 2,000, which is some progress from where it was at a few days ago. We'll look at the top dogs. BNB at $636, XRP at $1.36, Solana slightly under 5, Tron at 28 cents, Dogecoin at 9, and Cardano somehow, some way, Cardano is still at 27 cents. I'm curious about this, y'all. What do y'all think about Cardano? Let me know if you want me to do a deep dive live stream on Cardano, find the necessary research so we can figure out what Cardano's been up to other than Charles Hoskinson's live streams and videos that he does on Twitter. Very interesting. So again, today's focus is on RWAs. And if we go to CoinGecko, they have created a top real world asset coins by market cap. Okay. And at the top of this list by market cap is Figure HELOC. So this is a new one I haven't heard of. So we're going to have to dive into that one another time. This coin obviously is not on Coin Market Cap. I do not see it on there. So both of these sites pretty much show you a different list of coins. I like this one because it has a great category set. As I showed you before, Coin Market Cap has the mainstream coins. All right, so other than Figure HELOC, we have number one sitting here is Chainlink sitting at $8.90, down 2.8% for the last week, up 4% today with a market cap of 6.3 billion. Number two, we have Stellar Lumens. Then we'll skip past the golds and the stable coins. Then we have Ondo. We'll talk about Ondo as well very soon. You skip past more of these funds and stable coins. You see Algorand, you see XDC, you see Injective, you see some of the recognizable layer ones. So on today's stream, we're going to focus more on Chainlink. Chainlink sits in the middle of TradFi, which is traditional finance, and cryptocurrencies, and it helps RWAs, communication, everything of that sort possible. That's why Chainlink is important. So I want to play this clip for y'all from the Paul Barron Network. He talks about where does crypto legislation stand today. Chainlink's representative breaks it down on the Paul Barron Network. Let's check it out, and then we'll talk about it.
What is causing the probability to spike so high right now in DC around this?
Yeah. I think you're seeing real traction in some of these White House-led meetings, and I think you're starting to see a thaw between the bank exchange discussions going on. I think we saw that with Patrick Witt's response to the Sandra Lutz tweet. I think you're starting to see the political pressure come to bear here. We know the White House wants a deal very, very much. A lot of time from a lot of very, very senior people have been put into this. It's extremely rare to see that in DC on anything, let alone a bill like this. So a lot of people have put real political skin in the game. I think that's starting to bear on the process. I think we're starting to see the sides come together.
Okay, so you heard the breakdown. What they're talking about here is that these politicians out in DC, obviously President Trump, many others, they actually want this to happen. They actually want the Clarity Act to pass. Remember, as a recap, we have the Stablecoin Genius Act passing, right? A lot of companies benefit. Coinbase, Binance, right? Kraken, Circle. And the one that had a little bit more difficulty was Tether. So Tether started to create a company that was more fit for the United States rather than a lot of mystery behind the reserves. So Circle takes the spotlight. Circle also drops or releases the Euro coin as well. So you got the USDC dollar and the Euro. The Clarity Act stablecoin, or excuse me, the Stablecoin Genius Act says you got to have reserves backing 1-to-1, whether they're in cash or US Treasury bills. A lot of these companies will and do use US Treasuries, which the United States would prefer that. So someone is holding and buying their debt to earn interest. So you got that happening. Then it's able to, you have to be able to have the funds be auditable. So companies can audit your reserves. Okay. They have freeze, clawback, a few other features. Essentially, it has made stablecoins mainstream. So you see PayPal dropping the stablecoin. You see a lot of blockchains, World Liberty Financial dropping the stablecoin. Stablecoin adoption has scaled up, and that has allowed for more innovation. And the next phase is to get the Clarity Act to pass. Okay. And once the Clarity Act pass, we'll have more clear regulation for the rest of the cryptocurrency industry. And specifically, the battle here is about rewards, USDC rewards, or as banks will call it, earning interest. You and I want to earn the interest. You can get 3, 5, 7% rather than the 0.6% that's in the average saving account. The only competition is a high yield savings account and CDs and whatnot, which usually have lockup periods. So that's what we got. So Chainlink, let's get back to Chainlink. Chainlink brings RWA to Stellar Lumens and Hedera. As y'all join the stream, say what's good. If you have any questions, make sure y'all tap in with me. Hit the like button, hit the hype button. I appreciate your support. Let's get it going. Now, we have Chainlink here. This is a new post from Chainlink, and this kind of breaks down what Chainlink is. Your stack upgraded. So you have a technology stack, right? If you're a developer, if you're let's say even a financial company, you have a technology stack. You have a CRM. You have, that's the customer relations. You have your brokerage integrations there, maybe with a Charles Schwab or a Fidelity. You have different technologies like Slack that you use within your system. Blockchains have the same. Your stack upgraded. It says plug Chainlink standards into the systems you already rely on to unlock digital asset workflows at scale. No rebuilding, just use Chainlink. So Chainlink prides itself on Chainlink standards, which are standards that work very well with governments, non-governmental organizations, nonprofits, different types of businesses. And the main thing that they're focused on is compliance and interoperability, okay? That's where Chainlink sits in an important situation, even minus the price action, right? It's about the technology. So then if you look at this here, you have a CCIP of network of chains, and then CCIP, okay? This is Chainlink's Chainlink. Let me get the correct definition for y'all. So this is a Chainlink standard. Chainlink's cross-chain interoperability protocol. That's the CCIP. CCIP is the industry standard secure open source protocol that enables universal messaging and token transfers between blockchains. That's the main key right there. And I made a video in the past, maybe we'll do another version of that, where we compare Chainlink to Axelar and to Wormhole. There's a reason to use all three of those, and they each have different use cases. And a lot of people did like Chainlink, a lot of people liked Wormhole, and a lot of people liked Axelar, okay? So you got a list of CCIP networks. So if you have your chain integrated with Chainlink's CCIP, that cross-chain interoperability protocol communication, you can then natively transfer coins back and forth. Let's say USDC from Base to Avalanche. You have platforms like Folks Finance on Algorand that has the ability to transfer USDC from Avalanche to Base to Nomad and Polygon and whatnot, right? So that's what it allows you to do. So that way you don't need bridges in that. You have cross-chain communication. So you got Solana on there, Zora, Avalanche, Aptos, you know, and the list grows every single day. Okay, that's what's really important here. And then I'm going to play another clip for y'all right here. I think, let me see. Before I play the clip, actually, this is more proof about the CCIP. Go here. So Chainlink connects Coinbase's CBBTC, which is Coinbase Bitcoin, to Monad. $5 billion in circulation. 5 billion in circulation. So that kind of is more proof of what I just talked about for the CCIP connection. Chainlink connects Coinbase's Coinbase BTC, which is 5 billion in circulation, to Monad. Now you will be able to use CBBTC, which is a Bitcoin derivative that Coinbase holds the real coin on this chain, and it puts out a derivative that you can earn interest on Coinbase. You can use that in Monad's ecosystem. If that makes sense. That's possible through Chainlink. Now I want to play something to y'all here. Actually, let's see. There's tab sharing. Okay, here we go.
So I think it's a core piece. You're bringing financial assets onto rails that are very efficient and transparent. I think the opportunity before us is still huge. You know, it could be a market worth hundreds and trillions of dollars. Today, only about 0.01% of assets that can be tokenized are actually they're actually on chain today. And I think we can think about this in terms of bringing legacy finance and Wall Street onto these blockchain rails and accruing value to the blockchain infrastructure tokens. So when I think about value, when we think about investors and how they invest in the space, we do think that a lot of the value that accrues from tokenization happens on that base level layer one chain. And then of course, you know, projects like Chainlink are playing a very critical role in enabling the tokenization.
Tokenization, that is always the key word when we're talking about blockchain technology in this era of time, specifically for real world assets, okay, y'all, for real world assets. So Chainlink sits at the middle. This was a clip from Grayscale's representative, okay? Head of product and research at Grayscale, talking about the future of Chainlink. And she says today only about 0.01% of assets that can be tokenized are on chain. Projects like Chainlink are playing a very critical role in enabling tokenization. So Chainlink is doing something big. And you know what I always thought was interesting about what Chainlink is doing? So people wonder, what is Chainlink doing for revenue, right? So this is a revenue model, introducing the Chainlink Reserve, creating a strategic link token reserve. So this is for network security, token of price accrual, and just essentially to help out the protocol's security and operations. So it says, we're excited to announce the launch of the Chainlink Reserve, a new upgrade centered on the creation of a strategic Chainlink Reserve of linked tokens. So they have something called payment abstraction. The Chainlink Reserve is being built up by using payment abstraction to convert off-chain and on-chain revenue into Link. Introduced earlier this year, payment abstraction is on-chain infrastructure that reduces payment friction by enabling users to pay for Chainlink services in their preferred form, gas token or stablecoins. Payments are then programmatically converted to Link using a combination of Chainlink services and decentralized exchange infrastructure. So if you put this all together, right? So like the Grayscale lady was saying, they would pay Chainlink for the service, right? Maybe in US dollars or stable coins, okay? And then in the moment I'm talking about Hedera would pay them maybe in Hedera tokens or USDC. So that's off-chain revenue, on-chain revenue. Those revenues will then be converted maybe on a decentralized exchange or other routes into Chainlink. Now they join the reserve. And currently, the reserve is sitting at $21.6 million of USD value, with the reserve activity increasing over time. Current reserve size is 2.4 million Chainlink with an average price of 14.27. And right now they are going to be averaging down big time because of the way the price of Chainlink is right now. Okay, so that's what we got there. And to move over to the integrations with Hedera. Hedera is built to connect. With Chainlink integrated on Hedera, developers gain secure access to real-world data, cross-chain interoperability, and on-chain reserve verification. So you get the data feeds, right? That's price feeds, different information off-chain, even sports betting if you're building an app like Polymarket, okay? CCIP, that's that communication that we just talked about, and proof of reserve. And this is definitely great for something that have to do with stable coins or gold or bonds, you know, real estate, which they're working on these type of use cases on Hedera, right? And then this even plugs into like AI agents and everything of that nature. So here's an update. Sentiment data shows Hedera, Chainlink, and Avalanche ranked among top real-world RWA crypto projects by development activity, okay? Development activity. So this is from Sentiment. I should say Sentiment, but Sentiment, I guess so. Whatever sounds good, right? So you got Hedera up here, Chainlink, Avalanche, and Stellar Lumens. And today, obviously, we're talking about Chainlink, we're talking about Hedera, we're talking about Stellar Lumens. So this is a great point, great thing to bring up. Cointelegraph reports. And then you got IOTA, Chia Network, Injective. We'll talk about Injective again another day. A big fan of Injective, Dusk, VeChain, and Centrifuge. And this is by notable GitHub activity, okay? This is activity, which means developers, business people are choosing Hedera, Chainlink, Avalanche, and Stellar as that top 4 to build. And that's what we want to see, especially as token holders or people who have a stake in the ecosystem, okay? Now, let's show you this one. This is about Stellar Lumens here. Stellar to join Chainlink, scale, and adopt data feeds, data streams, and CCIP to power next-gen DeFi apps. So that's exactly what I just pretty much read to you about Hedera. Chainlink is also in the game too. And here's a quote from Chief Business Officer of Chainlink Labs. I'm very excited about Stellar joining the Chainlink Scale program and adopting the Chainlink interoperability and data standards. With the decision to integrate CCIP data feeds and data streams, Stellar is enabling its ecosystem to access the secure and reliable infrastructure needed to support institutional grade tokenization and seamless cross-chain applications. This collaboration significantly accelerates Stellar's ability to scale to meet the demands of a unified on-chain financial system. So Stellar definitely has been cooking. So you get battle-tested security, secure token agnostic transfer, CCIP, programmable token transfers, extendable and future-proof. So that's some big news from Stellar. And then let me play this or show you this too. So this happened, I believe, last summer. And Department of Commerce posts GDP data on Stellar. And posting data is something that blockchain was also built for. Record keeping. And this is possible because of Stellar Lumens connecting with Chainlink. Chainlink Stellar is allowing the data to be on chain. So this is that immutable government economic data, okay? And this is what Bloomberg had to say. The Commerce Department's adoption of blockchain to carry some of its most critical and market-moving economic data amounts to a U.S. government seal of approval on a technology that's increasingly being used for trading everything from money market funds to stocks beyond its origins of cryptocurrency. That's important. We in the crypto industry want a government stamp of approval, okay? Because obviously you have the Genius Act, okay? That's the first stamp of approval that, you know, was the most important realistically, right? The Genius Act. It's on Congress, right here at the top left corner. S.1582 Genius Act, okay? It is put into law to provide for the regulation of payment stablecoins and for other purposes. That was phase one. That was phase one. Phase two is Clarity Act, okay? And the Clarity Act is phase two. Why the Clarity Act could be crypto's most important law. That's what we want next, y'all. Okay. Clarity Act. And that deals even more detailed about exactly what a digital asset is, exactly how you deal with stable coins now that they're officially into law, as I just showed you here, this act being passed, okay? Oops. So that's what we got. And then number two, the standardizations that Chainlink is doing in the background, linking up all the blockchains, all the banks, all the infrastructures, the federal governments and whatnot, putting all that in order, which allows people to build apps like never before. All right. So that's what I got for y'all today. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Chainlink brings RWA to Stellar Lumens and Hedera. What's next? And I think what's next is the Clarity Act passing, whether it's in the form that is in now or in the form that we will all want, which is us to receive the USDC interest, aka rewards. So I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Make sure y'all hit that like button, hit the hype button, help get this channel to more subscribers, more people, so that way we can get this information out there and help grow our bags. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Until the next live stream, y'all know what to do. Leave me a comment if you got any topics you want me to tap into. See you in the next stream, y'all. Peace. Passive income, gold in my dental. Thank God for my mental. Investor fundamentals. Told my girl it was simple.